And here with us from our Washington bureau is Nancy Cortez. Nancy, we see Ted Cruz now leading the GOP field in Iowa and in a close second nationally. What is it about Senator Cruz that's allowed him to make such big strides?
Well, he's really where a good deal of the GOP primary electorate is right now. He is, strongly anti-Obamacare, strongly anti-comprehensive immigration reform. He's outspoken in his opposition, not just to what Democratic leaders do in Washington, but to what Republican leaders do in Washington. And there's a real feeling among a lot of GOP conservative voters that that the leadership of the party hasn't gone where they wanted it to go, hasn't gone after the president as hard as they wanted them to. And Ted Cruz is a big reason for that dissatisfaction, because he has been making the case for several years now that the GOP could be doing more to try to unwind Obamacare, that it should really use things like government funding as leverage to try to get some of its priorities enacted. And so if Donald Trump were not in this race, I think you'd see Ted Cruz with a much larger slice of the electorate a lot earlier than now. As it stands, he's certainly gaining steam in Iowa, and Donald Trump is clearly worried, because he's been saying for months now, hey, I'm not going to attack Ted Cruz unless he attacks me first, and I'm waiting for him to attack me, but he hasn't done it. And then you saw this weekend, he just unleashed on him regardless, because he doesn't like these new poll numbers.
Absolutely, but Ted Cruz has brushed off these attacks. Is that the dynamic that we could expect to see tomorrow night? Trump going after Cruz, but Cruz trying to avoid that confrontation?
Yes, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it sort of works for Ted Cruz. It kind of elevates him, right? When Donald Trump, the front runner, is clearly worried about him, lashing out at him. These are two men who for a long time were kind of working in tandem. They did some events together. They praised each other on the campaign trail. Now suddenly Donald Trump is calling Ted Cruz a maniac. But also, Ted Cruz's strategy is to kind of lay in wait and hope that Donald Trump falters, and then all of those people who are backing Trump need to go somewhere. And Ted Cruz believes that he is the rightful heir to a lot of those voters. And so he doesn't want to do anything to alienate them. He doesn't want to attack Donald Trump because he would like those people to sort of naturally segue over to supporting him.
Nancy, let's talk about the general election for a moment. A new poll shows that if Hillary Clinton went head-to-head with either Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, she would win. But if she faced off against either Ben Carson or Marco Rubio, she would lose. What do you make of those numbers?
What I make of those numbers is that Ted Cruz and Donald Trump have really been, in the news lately because of their position at the top of the pack. So you hear a lot of great things about them. You hear a lot of negative things about them. Voters know them very well. Marco Rubio and Ben Carson have been, a little bit under the radar lately. Marco Rubio obviously on his way up. Ben Carson on his way down. But I do think that it shows why the Clinton campaign is most worried about a Marco Rubio as the Republican nominee. Frankly, they're thrilled with the notion of Donald Trump being the nominee or Ted Cruz being the nominee. They really feel that they could win that kind of matchup easily. And Republicans agree with them. Republican leaders here in D.C. agree with them on that front. But everyone agrees that Marco Rubio would be a tougher candidate. He could potentially reach out to more independents than Trump or Cruz could, and that makes it a tougher road for Hillary Clinton.
All right, Nancy Cortez in Washington, thank you.
You're welcome.